Hello, this is an overview of our construction management solution built in Smartsheet. Today we're going to kind of go over what a day in the life of provisioning these projects and managing them through the actual construction life cycle can look like for your applications using this solution. So what we have here to kick things off is our kind of central product database or our project intake. In here, you're going to see a series of information such as maybe the opportunity tracking ID that can come from your bid or RFP kind of management software if you'd like, or you can look at converting that into Smartsheet. Things like project IDs, or you could use your accounting codes from your financial tools, project name, project managers, different approval series, etc. You could look if you're tracking again the proposal for the invitation to bid. Certainly in here and set up a kind of dependencies on dates when those are due soon or past due, just to keep you in the pipeline updated. So really, this is just kind of that high level information for your construction projects. You can certainly view this in this kind of tabular format, or if you wanted to kind of get a feel of where these projects are being planned over time, you can certainly group these by location. I could group these also by, the project types if I wanted to see how are all my commercials versus my infrastructure projects, healthcare projects, etc. And then I can click into these guys to view, any of the specific details within the panel. So a couple different ways that you can kind of view high level these projects within. But if I go back to the intake again, you can basically store this, write new project records or updates inside of this grid. You can also fill these things out with a project intake form. Someone can fill these things, type in the project managers, estimate costs, etc. Or alternatively, you can use some tools to import or sync these into the system. So there's things like data integrators that we can take into Smartsheet from your existing tech stack. Now, once a project has been provisioned, basically we set up an approval workflow that once it's marked as approved, we can open up that project itself. So I'm going to open up this shopping center renovation project. And we're now diving in further into these project details. So this is a project that's been going on for a little bit at least here within the project initiative. So you can see I've got some of the initial information from the project overview, things like the name, any project manager information, anything that's relevant to me. I can certainly see inside, where this at is on a map location. And now I'm getting high level views of how the project has been performing. So any of these important KPIs or measures that you want to have within the project work. So I've got here, my project schedule plan, any of the milestones, how they're progressing. Those could be your major phases in your progress or maybe billable events. In this case, I've got my pre-construction, many design meetings, etc. And then I've got some high level kind of scheduling components here. Now, this timeline, you can adjust the scale to go by months or weeks or quarters, but this really kind of gives you an idea of, high level milestone tracking and progress. We're also able to track things for RFIs if you're looking to get that information or by trade or by kind of category or risks. Again, we want to expose that at a high level for this project dashboard to draw your attention to maybe critical components within. A couple other areas around the budgeting. So training out your plan versus your expected costs. We can see how change orders might be impacted, the budgets that you might have and your forecasting. Track them down by cost codes, the budgeted forecasted totals, the committed costs, pending costs, etc. And then similar cases for change orders to see not only if there's financial impacts or if there's schedule impacts as well. Rounding out the solution package, there's also submittal tracking. So you can see how maybe changes to the specifications or new updates to the project itself are being modified. A nice convenient place to monitor and report on those. And similar for punch list items as you're kind of maybe wrapping up the construction and looking to do startup and commissioning towards the tail end. Or, if you're doing things floor by floor in a typical design build. Daily progress reports. So we're able to capture some insights and trends. In this case, I'm just monitoring manpower over time just to see if there's an influx. This could even be equipment on site. if you're looking to do so, or deliveries on site. You can see on our manpower trend, we're tracking some other things as well, not only what is the primary activity that's being performed, the dates reported, some weather condition, head count, hours worked, and any issues and teams that are working on sites. And then lastly, rounding it out with safety and incident reporting. So to capture some high-level trends around what might be issues on the job site for your next JSA and JHAs, or those hazards analysis and safety analysis performing daily for those visits. So let's click in a little bit further and we can look at some of these contents. So I'm going to hop into this project's budget log. Now, this is a fairly lightweight budget. You can certainly expand across the cost codes or the sub-cost codes with those categories. You can do these by material types or within grades. The concept in this really is you can take the cost codes that you want, maybe from your financial tools, and update those inside of these sheets so that if you wanted to synchronize reporting to your finance systems, whether that's Sage or SAP, any of the other kind of standard construction management accounting tools, or if you want to make Smartsheet an accounting tool for your team, you can run this as well. So we've got our budgeted amounts. Actual amounts could be updated periodically, either by a project manager, project engineer, or finance user inside, tracking the differences between those with a variance, and then any of the changes from the committed costs and pending costs as it might relate to, some of these changes from the change orders. Speaking of change orders, we're going to go into the change order log. So you'll see that we've got, what is the change, who's requesting it, as well as kind of cataloging the requested dates and times that these need to be reviewed and approved upon, and then if they come with cost or schedule impacts within. So in here, we do offer the ability to kind of create a workflow where if you wanted to submit a change order for approval or review, that can be done in such a way that, when a request is made by Jane Doe, for example, we'll send over for a summary of what that update looks like for the lighting fixtures in this case. And then a user could come in and then click on, what is that change, view that in context of the solution, kind of mark that, yep, I agree with this, and then check this off as approved. In this case, I've already done so, and then that would roll up into our project budgets. Switching gears a little bit are the daily progress reports. So, in the office, at least, if you're looking to manage and see how work is being performed over time, if you're looking at these for updates to your schedule of values for completed work, this can feed into a solution like that. But again, this is just a daily log of work and activities performed, what kind of equipments were made on site for that activity. This is basically the destination for where these records go, but labor in the field, whether it's a superintendent doing a job walk or your foreman, can just fill out kind of this information on this form. There's an offline mode available so that if there's not cell service or Wi-Fi on the job site, which is rare nowadays, you can still kind of save and upload this within. Now, the project schedule is kind of the heartbeat of many construction projects, right? So we have your typical phases within. You can go all the way, if you really would like, all the way to the pre-construction, even the kind of contracting and document gathering phases in your projects, whether you're doing design build or net new construction within. These can be customized however you want. If you want additional layers of hierarchy for these activities, you can certainly do so. You're allowed to kind of contract or expand and contract these just to give you a little bit of a broader view of all those actions. Now you can set start dates and end dates, and then note if activities are milestones. So if you really wanted to track a specific item and make sure that that was followed up, you can check this box, and that will appear on a series of reports within. Update things like progress or team assignments. So if you wanted to do automations where you assign a user, you can certainly grab them on this. But you can also do things like allocate resources. So this is right now assigned to a contact. You can imagine this be like a crew side, just kind of getting a general idea of who's doing what and what impact it may have. Now, a couple things you may be looking at on the schedule is setting baselines. So maybe you have a revision to the project schedule and you want to track where you're at before. So you can actually enable baselines in on these projects, and it will add kind of this ghosted bar in on the side so that, if you're changing the duration of your activities, maybe in this case, the charter development or the feasibility assessment, that's going to take 20 days. instead. And then we've got some other impacts. Maybe it's 30 days for this development, 10 here. You can see as we're making those edits in line from the start dates, from our baseline, we can see a per baseline variance as well as the total variant for the engagement. We're still on schedule right now because there's a lot of float built into this, but you can see in this view a lot of differences from your trends. So this can help give you insight to how do we plan versus how we actually reported. You do have critical path dependencies built on here. So if you have a really tight schedule and you really want to monitor how that runs, you can do so. You can also things like driving paths and updates within those visuals within. So the project schedules is a very robust tool for your schedules. Now, you can share these sheets out to other trades, subcontractors, or you can even export these out to a general contractor if you're working with those. You can send them as an Excel file or even an XML for project within. And if they give you updated dates and you want to update your schedule with theirs, you can certainly come in with the connections and then load in information from an upload so that you don't have to recreate these schedules every single time. Just basically set up a sync and you're good to go. Items like punch list tracking, again, we talked a little bit about this within. We can look at those images. So if I'm tracking broken tile, you can keep your updates within here. We have a wonderful AI generated image, so it's not realistic to have what looks to be drywall tile in the row. But again, that's giving you the information in line. So you don't have to find a file on SharePoint, bring it back in within here. So allows you to capture descriptions, kind of where that's at on the job site, who you're signing out to, again, if it's subs or contractors that you're working with, track by statuses, and then trade. Now, again, this is kind of your system of records view. There are forms on this embedded so that team members can just very quickly pull up on their iPad or iPhone on the job site, fill this information in, tag it by a category, upload files or videos, and submit. But if you're going through a kind of a punch list review and you're walking out, you can always switch over to this board view, and this will just kind of give you a quick take where you can say, yep, these are open, these are completed, they're still kind of in progress, and just drag and drop from the sides. A couple uncategorized ones, so maybe these haven't been reviewed yet, right? So we'll just move those over to the open segment in here. If you wanted to view the details, you can just kind of click in on this card and then you'll get the side panel where you can view all of the specifications, right? Any relevant attachments, conversations with team members, etc. All right, jumping into the RFI log. So again, following kind of a trend in here, as you're setting out requests for information, basically you're tracking in what is that question, the date submitted. We're giving you things like how long this RFI has been pending or in an open state from. This will kind of roll up into broader kind of metrics where you can see, might be the total ages of my RFIs, even by contractor responsible party, kind of give you a scorecard of sorts to help folks out. Looking again at cost or schedule impacts for your projects. If you wanted to, you could associate these with cost codes even if you're trying to get information in from that and then check from there. Again, sample information is within these guys. So if I'm having an RFI document, we can kind of build these out. Now, if you have your own templatized RFI, you can certainly use so, but Smartsheet can do automated document generation. So in this case, basically we can create new mappings and you really just upload a fillable PDF and start to generate a document. So you can create a DocuSign or PDFs. And basically you get a mapping tool to load, and it will automatically create these documents within your solution. So it's a great way at being able to dynamically create content from information already inside your Smartsheet solution. We talked a little about it on the safety incidents. So again, there's a backend where we're storing all those records that have been maybe submitted from the field or as we're doing job walks. You've got a field form kind of within here that is easy to punch in. But there are some kind of neat things that you can do with this. So, there's a corrective action. If I really wanted to maybe say, what are some preventative measures? You can start to create more custom columns, and you could even maybe generate some AI content or suggestions. So you are a safety manager, needs to train folks on the job to mitigate risks. Make a short, let's say 3-sentence void. And then in here, basically, we said, well, what do we want to avoid? We want to avoid maybe the description. So I'll just start typing in description. And you may have seen this kind of pop in from here. This is basically the description. What this is doing is you're prompting an AI summary to give it a role, right? I'm a safety manager. What's happening, the description, what I want it to do, write that recommendation. So I can feed it the description. I can say, the root cause here. Individual. Oops. And then generate the text. And what this will do is it's going to take that context of your role, what was the issue that was found, and then maybe what was the root cause, and it's going to give you kind of a generated output. So this could be a preventative measure that you could take in the future, right? So make sure that the wiring is properly maintained and there's no leaks nearby. And then you can store that in this cell. I could also take several cells at once and then kind of regenerate this and then apply to those as well. And what this is going to do is taking that same information, but then dynamically create those kind of summaries or actions that you can take. So again, ways that you're leveraging the information that you're collecting into the solution. All right. And then last of the templates are submittals. So again, as you're getting new updates to the submittals, which versions are coming through, as related to the spec sections, you can track and manage these inside of these sheets. Again, keeping things in context, you can pull up the submittal document inside of that row. If you needed to request updates or new versions, you can certainly upload new segments within for your teams to collaborate in on. So that could be shop drawings, contract drawings, material procurements, whatever the case may be, gives you a nice convenient place to monitor that for each project. So again, all that information from these underlying sheets and forms rolls up to give you, a project level dashboard. But if I wanted to view this at a higher level, I'm going to go back to, we were just looking at this project intake. I can come in at the portfolio level and see how all of my projects are performing. So I can see across all my project types, this kind of rainbow chart, what we might call it, is giving you kind of the context of from all of these projects, these are maybe the key metrics that I need to take action on. So looking at open RFPs, open items, if this list was all the way over to the right, there are probably a lot of actions that I should take in. You may want to be a little bit more, granular on these details like the office renovations or highways to view. Next in, you can things like project progress, percent complete over time, your global project schedule. So how are all projects doing? Other activities phased in, kind of in a one-stop shop. Total RFIs, again, as bucket. So the portfolio tier really is just an aggregation of all the projects underlying into, again, a high-level view for you to see everything at a glance. And if you really wanted to get granular, you can open up, the underlying reports here on the side, and this is going to give you, a much more data-heavy kind of information, parse for those projects. So I can collapse all these, and these are all the projects that I have in my portfolio. I can expand this, kind of drill down and see, by cost code. In this case, it's budgets. If I was looking at progress reports, I could do the same thing within here. So you're getting a little bit of different flavors of analytics and reporting, and all this information again is sourced up from the projects underneath. So hopefully that gives you an insight onto our kind of construction project management. We talked about new project intake and kind of management from a form or ingestion. That provisions out things like the project dashboards and then viewing all the underlying assets for, basically the daily activities for your jobs to roll in. Hope you enjoyed today's kind of session. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.